room. ENT.
Yeah, we want all the smoke, we want all the action. If you're grinding for the paper, don't forget your passion. If you're driving, pull it over, that can lead to crashing. DJ Demise is on the mix, and that can lead to dancing. Go ahead, shake it, girl, everybody clapping. Damn, do it for the gram, I ain't even capping. If you grind till you shine, you can make it happen. Uncle Marv, Marty Marv, keep it old fashioned.
The Keepin' It Old Fashioned Show.
All right, guys, and you're here with another edition of the Keepin' It Old Fashioned Show with your man, Uncle Marv.
And your boy, Marty Mar.
And this is our Kung Fu edition.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so how you been, Marty? How's
Good,
things going
man.
with
Good.
you,
It's
brother?
really good to see you, brother.
Good to see you too, my man.
I'm excited about today's show.
Yes. Now, today's show, folks, we're dealing with the Kung Fu edition, and we want to talk about Kung Fu's influence on hip-hop and vice versa. We also going to have those artifacts. We also going to have what makes Marty mad. And we're going to have a dope Kung Fu edition mix by DJ Demise. So if you're watching this on YouTube, look for the link to the mix in the bios. If you're joining us on the podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeart
All
Podcasts,
places.
TuneIn Radio Podcasts, anywhere you're getting your podcasts, look in the bios and find the mix by DJ Demise, and you can enjoy it also. If you're listening to us to She-Real Radio, home of the kings and queens of R&B and hip-hop, we'd like to join you, and you'll be listening to the mix live right as part of this show, folks. So, keep it locked in to the Keeping It Old-Fashioned show, and we'll be back to start this show shortly.
The Keepin' It Old Fashioned Show presents Martifacts.
What's
What
up?
artifacts do you have for the people this show?
Okay, my brother. Did you know the founder of Shaolin Kung Fu was from India? Legend has it that the founder of the Shaolin Order, a Buddhist monk from India named Bodhidharma, spent 9 years meditating in a cave near his monastery. The legend has it that to keep him from falling asleep, the monk cut off his eyelids and threw them on the ground. Green tea began to grow from the spot where he threw his eyelids, and it's now why Buddhist monks use green tea to maintain their focus during meditation.
Wow. I've been into Kung Fu a lot. It's the main thing I have a black sash in is, Wing Chun and Northern Shaolin. I've never heard that story before.
Well, I'm glad I could bring that to
Or
you.
if I heard it, I must have forgot it. Uncle Marv is getting old, brother, but it's a great story, man.
All right. Well, moving on.
What else you got for us?
Did you know the most elite Shaolin monk was a werewolf? Okay. He wasn't an actual werewolf. But in the late 19th century lived a monk named Tai Jin. The poor guy suffered from a condition known as hypertrichosis, also known as werewolf syndrome, because of the insane amount of body hair that grows on affected areas. It might have helped his self-esteem to know that, according to legend, he was the best fighter in all of China.
Listen, man. Kids is mean, bro.
The kids are definitely
If
mean.
you got a bunch of hair like a werewolf, they're going to tease you. You better know how to put it down. That is probably why he was the best fighter.
Best fighter.
Yeah, man. I'm pretty sure they probably was making fun of him. Like, look, I'm going to kick your little doggy woofy self. And he was like, you ain't kicking no doggy woofy over here.
Nope.
He got tired of taking the bullying, and they made him the best fighter in China. I'm pretty sure that's what it was, bro.
Yeah, man.
Like 5,000% sure, bro.
Yep.
What else you got for us, Marty Fast? Let's see what else you got, Marty.
All right, the last one for today is, did you know about the massacre of Ramree Island? In 1945, during World War II, the Japanese army was tasked with holding Ramree Island, which is Myanmar. Well, the Allied forces came in and pushed the Japanese back into the swamp, which was infested with crocodiles. The crocodiles went into a frenzy from all the screaming and noise and were overly hungry because of the Japanese eating so many of the native prey on the island. And about 1,000 Japanese soldiers were eaten in a span of 2 days. My friend, saltwater crocs can be over 20 feet long.
We live in Florida, man.
Yeah,
we see alligators and Florida
it's like a
crocodiles
normal
all the
thing
time.
out here.
So, I'm very much aware of them dangers, bro. People looking at this nice city background, but if you go to the Everglades,
Oh,
you ain't got to go to Everglades.
Alligator
because
Alley.
Alligators and crocodiles been showing up at folks' houses lately if you watch the news,
oh,
bro.
Yep.
But, yeah, that's an amazing story. Heck of a way to win a war, having crocodiles eat your enemy.
Yeah.
I got to tell you
1,000
that.
soldiers in 2 days.
All right, man. Those were some awesome artifacts, bro.
Thank you.
All right. Well, look, keep it locked in, folks. We got so much more coming. We're going to find out shortly what makes Marty mad. We're also going to have our main topic where we're talking about, this is the Kung Fu edition.
Kung Fu edition.
Kung Fu's impact and influence on hip-hop and urban culture in general, man. All right? So keep it locked in. If you're listening to us on the podcast, Spotify, iHeart, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, whatever. Make sure you look in the bios. In the bios, you can find a mix that DJ Demise, our DJ, he did a special Kung Fu edition mix for you guys for this show. So keep it locked in. Download that mix. If you're listening to us through our radio partner, She Real Radio, home of the kings and queens of R&B and hip-hop, we greet you and we say keep it locked in. You'll be hearing Demise's mix. DJ Demise got a dope mix for you guys. You'll be hearing the rest of the show. So keep it locked in. And you're listening to the Keep It Old Fashioned Show with Uncle Marv.
Your boy Marty Mar.
And we'll be back.
We'll be back.
Bacon, bacon, bacon. Everyone loves bacon. But not just any bacon. We're talking about Uncle Marv's premium handcrafted all beef bacon. We're most certain you thought we were talking about that high sodium pork or the old rubbery tough high sodium turkey bacon. Not at all. Uncle Marv is giving you prime beef. Since we're talking premium, I'll give you something to think about. If you sat down at a nice restaurant and only pork, turkey, and sirloin were being served, which would you choose? We thought so. Uncle Marv's premium kosher handcrafted 100% beef bacon comes in over 200,000 different flavor combinations. All USDA grade A prime and Wagyu beef. Our bacon is smoked. It's the best bacon on earth. For more information, log on to our website, www.unclemarvsbeefbacon.com. Uncle Marv's old-fashioned beef bacon. Follow us on social media at Uncle Marv's Beef Bacon.
Hey, folks, you're listening to the Keeping It Old Fashioned Show with Uncle Marv.
And your boy Marty Mar.
And we're here with our Kung Fu edition.
Yes, we
You know
are.
what I'm saying? And we want to talk about Kung Fu, martial arts in general, and how it put an impression and helped create hip hop. And today I'm with one of my oldest friends and schoolmates, Mark Moore, out of Baltimore, Maryland. He's the owner and founder of Left Hook 360 Gym. And how you doing, my man, Mark?
I'm doing well. How are you today?
We're doing great. We're doing great. Listen,
First of all, I want to thank you for the invite on this show,
Hey, great. We're very happy and honored to have you
So
here, my
happy
brother.
to have you, man. So happy.
So let me first, let's let you tell me a little bit about yourself. Let's talk about your martial arts background, sir.
I started off, back in the traditional Kung Fu, forms like the 5 animal system. Then got into Wing Chun and Arnis and just fell in love with, American kickboxing, Muay Thai. Just fell in love with it, San Shao and Sanda. It was the Chinese art, the grappling art, kickboxing. It's just, but to be honest, I just love every facet of martial arts. Anything that
Absolutely.
you use to defend yourself, stay in shape. I just love it. Fell in love with it at an early age and still doing it.
Man, look, Mark,
brother.
I'm gonna tell you something, my brother.
Tell me.
I love this guy because he has the same background, similar.
Yeah.
Because I'm also out of, Northern Shaolin style, five animal system. Wing Chun is what I did, with me. I also did a little Shotokan. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
A little Taekwondo. Them knees ain't good no more. So Taekwondo's out the door.
Oh.
And I'm a boxer. So, with Bruce Lee had this book. And we brought it, all about, Jeet Kune Do, which is the, what Bruce Lee said, you take what works and you throw away what doesn't work. So me being a short guy, and you're a little guy, you have to be harder and more aggressive when you're fighting big opponents, But right now, we're not going to get into that. We want to talk about how martial arts, Kung Fu in particular, impacted hip hop. All right. Did you gentlemen know that some of the first martial arts movies to come over here? Do you know, Mark, was the first martial arts movie that you seen?
I believe it was Five Fingers of Death.
The Five Fingers of Death. Yes, sir. And the second one was the Five Deadly Venoms. And it made an impression. Tell me a little bit about the impression it made on you in the early 70s, seeing those Kung Fu films.
Man, so to be honest, when I first saw Five Fingers of Death, I was like, "That's crazy. That's crazy."
Probably saw nothing like it before.
Nothing.
Yeah.
People getting their eyes plucked out with the fingers. like what?
Absolutely.
But I was like, man, I just wanted to, I wanted to do it. Again, being brought up in Baltimore, I was like, I gotta learn to defend myself, and that looked good.
Oh, yeah.
100%. I remember going to John Clayton down there off of Mulberry Street, right?
Oh yeah.
And that brother, he studied under somebody who studied a Yip Man. I mean, he was underrated. Now I couldn't afford his school, but I was lucky enough to study under one of his students. Right. I give a shout out to Richard Blackledge. That's my seafood. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But at that time in Baltimore, hip hop was new also. We talking like after watching all those Kung Fu films, you go to the new theater, you go to the Hippodrome, you go to the town, and then you come home and you're doing, the snake and you're doing the praying mantis forms. And then
trying to mimic all the moves.
This new hip hop music. And what they're doing is they're doing the same, like our martial arts, but the music, and then you're creating the popping and locking. And breakdancing got its start. So hip hop and Chinese and Asian martial arts in general are interconnected.
Yep.
I want to have this brother on because, next to myself, bro, he's like one of the people that had the same life experience I had in Baltimore. Growing up poor, trying not to be in trouble, but having to defend yourself from the bullies. You had people doing strong arm robberies back in the late 70s, early 80s. Dudes was getting shot in the face, stabbed up over starter jackets.
Wow.
Right.
You find starter jackets
I
at
have a story
Walmart
about
now.
that too. I don't know if you remember back in the day when I think it was like the guy, the very first time we heard somebody get got murdered over that jacket. It's like the very next day, I got mine. I was like, that was a surprise.
Wow.
Scared to wear it, right?
I
Yeah.
was like, well, no, I wore it. That was like,
Nice. Nice.
but I was like, I'm like, wait a minute, are my parents trying to tell me something?
Imagine if Jordans were around at that time.
Oh,
Even
man.
worse,
I
man.
mean,
People kill each other for Jordans.
Bro, People was killing
man.
each other for cheaper shoes than Jordans back in Baltimore, man.
Man.
But I gotta
Converse.
tell you, it upsets me with the whole COVID, how a lot of African Americans, a lot of Americans in general, were being violent towards Asian Americans.
Right.
When you can go to any black hood, and one of the 4 stores you'll always see in a black neighborhood, besides the liquor store, besides that drug store, besides the little corner candy store,
bodega, yeah.
you're going to see a Chinese store that you can buy your food from, bro.
Right.
100. They weren't afraid to come. They were honored and important part of our community, because say what you will, I hate racism in all its different various forms.
Right.
But black people love Chinese food, bro.
Yeah.
We love martial arts music, movies, and that's what fit into the music. Now you look at groups like Wu-Tang Clan,
Right.
the RZA, they had the same life experience that you and I had, Mark.
Yep.
Right.
Right? You listen to like the music, the whole style, breakdancing, the impact that martial arts, and in particular Kung Fu, had on hip hop is undeniable.
Right.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you this, Mark.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what you do now, my brother.
So right now, I'm since I can't jump in and kick and do all the flips like I was when I was younger, I'm actually passing on the knowledge. You know, I'm have some students that over the years, you know, they gone into MMA or boxing,
Absolutely.
and I'm just sharing it with the next group. You know,
Heard that.
I'm bringing them up.
Listen,
Bringing them up right.
You sent me some nice video. I hope you include that video you was young and working them nunchucks. Now look, Mark, before I went to the Marines, I sold this dude my whole martial arts collection, except for my swords. He didn't get my swords, but he got a few.
I didn't get the swords, but even then, those the nunchucks, the Barcham Dowel, the Wing Chun butterfly knives, the 3-sectional staff.
Was the nunchucks your favorite though?
Oh, the nunchucks was my favorite, man.
Yeah.
Hey, listen.
The nunchucks was my favorite.
I don't like to admit this, but
Mhm.
this is one dude that was better with the nunchucks than I was. Now look, my weapons, I'm be honest with you. The butterfly knives, the 3-sectional staff, I won many tournaments when I was a kid because I worked at 3-sectional staff. It's one of the hardest martial arts weapons to master that there is that 3-sectional staff. You have to be extremely skilled, in my humble opinion. How do you feel about that?
I love it, man. That's one of the reasons why the nunchucks and the 3-sectional staff are like my 2 favorite weapons. You know, as far as like I love, you know, flowing with it. You know, and even to this day, I still like to mess around with it. You know, and every now and then, some of my students still don't know how I was back then or now, because I try to keep it. You know, that's my personal thing. You know.
Right.
I don't share everything with, you know, like that. But this is from my own personal workout. Like I sent you some of my videos of how I am now, you know, as opposed to how I was back then, because some people want to know if I still have it.
Well,
you know,
I want to see both. And guys, listen, when you if you listen to this podcast on Spotify, you just listening to it, you're not seeing the video. I welcome you guys to go to UncleMarvsBeefBacon.com, look for the YouTube video. And what we're going to do, we're going to mesh up and have a montage of Mark Moore's, you know, the seafood here. We're going to have him, you know, in his heyday. I hope you give me the one we doing the nunchucks in his heyday. You know what I mean? Doing a little sparring. And then we're going to have him old school now that he's a gray beard master. And we're going to show you a little bit. We're also going to show you his beautiful gym. If you're in the Maryland area, you might want to look up at Left Hook 360 Gym. Tell them where it's located, my brother.
Yeah, Left Hook 360 Boxing and MMA is located 550 Crane Highway North in Glen Burnie, Maryland. The zip code is 21061. And I'm in Unit 16. And
All right.
I'm there Sunday through Thursday.
Sunday through Thursday, folks. Listen, if you want to get yourself in shape, You want to learn how to better protect yourself because let me tell you, people road raging out here, people still doing strong arm robberies, people breaking into your homes. It doesn't matter how young or old you are, you can get in shape and learn a little defensive skills. It's great for young people to get disciplined. I hear people all the time talking about my grandson, my kids won't listen. Get them into some MMA, give them into some martial arts, some boxing. It's good for the mind and it's good for the spirit.
Yeah, especially when you can learn from someone like Mark.
Yeah, like I tell people all the time, boxing is a martial art also. People don't look at it because it's not Eastern, it's a Western sport, but it's a martial art. It takes a lot of discipline, just like everything else.
Absolutely.
Like Taekwondo,
now, Martin,
everything else.
Do you have some questions for my man, Mark Moore?
No, I mean, I just think I'm impressed with the fact that you look excited to pass down your knowledge. I think that's important. I think that, after you learn it and you want to, pass it on to the younger crowd, I think that's a beautiful thing that you're doing. How many people do you usually teach on a regular basis on your classes? I mean, how many students do you usually have?
Well, the beauty about my gym is that even before the pandemic, I like to keep my classes small. So I don't have any more, like, say, 10, 15 students per class, even 5.
You get that personal touch. That's amazing. That's very important.
Because that's really important to me, man. When you have 30, 40, 50, 60, students at one time, it's like, how can they, each and every one, get everything that you're trying to, give them? It's not really possible. You're going to always have someone that's going to be lacking. So to eliminate all that, it's like, let's keep the classes small. I used to teach in my basement, and that's where the idea came from. I had small classes then, and then, this was years ago when I first started. So I was like, I still want to maintain the same concept, keep small classes. And
you know what? All teachers have the same. Teachers in the public schools and private schools that teach English and history, they talk about the value of having small classes, because I tell people there's no one that's stupid in the whole universe. Everyone learns differently. Some people are visual learners. Some people learn from reading. Some people learn from doing
or from hearing it.
And in martial arts, you have to combine all that.
Yeah.
What Sifu Bruce Lee always preached, and that's why he started Jeet Kune Do. Everybody can't be good at everything, but everyone can be masterful at something. And once you find out what your strengths are, you get even stronger with those, and you try to make your weaknesses better. And I think that's the key to life. And I think that's also the key to martial arts, is that you have to find what works for your body type. I'm not 6'3". I got a friend I used to spar, used to put me in the dirt when I first started out, Mark. Let me tell you, I couldn't get close to the cat. And then I was like, I was a small guy. I didn't get to 5'8" until I went in the Marines. You remember me back in high school? I was 5'6". I was shorter and short, bro. I was thankful for them 2 inches. But the problem with fighting tall opponents is they had a longer reach. And so if you're scared to get hit, you're never going to be successful or feel successful. You're always going to be afraid because you can't get close enough to do any damage, it seems like. And I had to learn what I needed to do as a fighter. To close that range and to be effective. So let me ask you this, Mark. What advice do you give your students when they're undersized?
Oh, well, some people come in and they want to learn self-defense without actually putting in, I should say, the actual work. What I mean by that is I don't teach dry land swimming. You got to get in the water. So sparring is important, and doing it right. That's the thing, because some people come in thinking that sparring is all about trying to knock out your opponent. That's not what sparring is about. Sparring is about practicing what you were taught, what you're learning, and putting it to use safely. And so we have an atmosphere where there's no egos. It's not one trying to overcome the other. Is that we're all trying to help one another, because I have to maintain a family atmosphere there. That's why I call all my students there family. They're my Left Hook 360 family, because it's not about trying to hurt one another. We're trying to help one another. And also, whatever I'm teaching, that they can pass it on to their children and their children's children, you know.
And that's a wonderful thing.
It's a
It's
beautiful
value
thing.
in that.
Absolutely.
It's value in that.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, when you go to boot camp in the military,
Mm.
they have you do everything together, whether it's tie your shoes, brush your teeth, by the numbers, because the more you do something, the more you practice something, it becomes that muscle memory. So you
Right.
don't really have to, and I tell my students that when I used to, like I got double dog training, but we're more focused on lifting weights and the physical fitness, but we do some boxing, we do some MMA back when
Right.
I had my business and I did those things. And I had guys that, I want to learn. I'm like, tell them, look, you're training your muscles every time we do calisthenics, when we lift weights, you're building muscle. But what you need to learn is how to target. And you can't do that trying to hurt your sparring partner. You got to move slowly. You got to move deliberately. And the more you do it, when you speed it up, when you actually need to use it and put power behind it, you're going to surprise yourself. But you have to learn the basics first. You have to learn how to move.
Right.
That's the most important thing, is to have a good offense. You must first master defense.
That's
You
it.
know, you can't use your offense against anybody if you already knocked out. You got to know what to
Right.
look for. And that comes in practice, I think.
Right. And my thing is also, it's like, you said something interesting about weight training. A lot of people thinking that, once you start lifting weights, it wouldn't be good for, combat. That's further from the truth. I mean, when you're lifting weights, it's not for bodybuilding. It's for strength training,
Absolutely.
conditioning. So that's what you use. That's what we use weights for anyway, as far as, to strengthen, get yourself, stronger. And by the way, it will, as you continue to do it, and over the years, over time, your body will change. You will get some cuts and striations, but the main thing you want to really focus on is conditioning.
I
Strength
would
training.
assume core too is very important.
Man, look.
Yeah, definitely. And
here's something
it's
funny,
not like
Mark.
you're not going to be lifting heavy weights, but I wouldn't say that you do that every single day.
Mm-hmm.
No, you would do that at least like once or twice a week.
Then let me ask you this, because a lot of people ask me, and I tell them, some of the best cardio you'll ever have in your life is boxing and MMA training, right?
I mean,
can you
have
speak
you
a
ever
little bit
seen-
on the cardio advantage with that?
Right. Have you ever seen an out of shape boxer? Even the big guys, like Butterbean, for example, as he, remember Butterbean from
Butterbean, big bruiser, boy.
I mean, he could still go what?
12
3 or 4
rounds.
rounds?
Yeah.
And as time goes on, 10 rounds.
Yeah.
10-3. I had come across people who couldn't even do 2 3-minute rounds or 2-minute rounds.
Yeah, I tell people in real life, if you have to defend yourself, it's very rare that I've ever seen a fight in real life last more than 2 minutes.
That's correct. Yeah.
And if it's more than 2 minutes, you're just showing off. You're just,
All right.
You're
Well,
not
look,
fighting.
Mark, we don't want to hold you up. We know you're a busy man. We want to thank you for joining us.
I thank you for inviting me.
For
Thank you
coming
so
to
much.
the Keeping It Old Fashioned show, sir. And like I said, for everybody that's listening, if you want to see the videos, you can go to YouTube, look for UncleMarvBeefBacon.com. You can go to UncleMarvsBeefBacon.com itself, and we have the videos under podcast embedded. And what we're going to put up on this, by the time this releases, you guys are watching and hearing this, we're going to have shots of Seafood Mark Moore and his students, at Left Hook 360 Gym on Crane Highway in Baltimore.
Oh, I can't wait to see it.
If you're in Maryland, the Baltimore, D.C. area, you want to get in shape, you want to learn some self-defense, you want to have a good time with people that's going to treat you like family, Mark Moore comes highly recommended. I've known this brother since we were in high school together. One of the most beautiful people you will ever have the pleasure
You're
meeting.
telling our age.
Hey, brother, ain't nothing wrong with grazing, aging gracefully like you and I, all right? But I got to give a shout out to you. I love you, man. And I
I love you too,
appreciate
brother.
you joining us and giving us the opportunity to share your wisdom. And we hope to have you back on the show sometime. Before we go, though,
Oh yeah.
who's your favorite hip hop group, brother?
Oh, Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to mess with.
Oh, Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to mess with. Yeah. All right, my brother. I knew you was gonna say that because you know can't be in the martial arts and not put it down for the RZA and Method
Yeah,
Man, them boys, son. All right, Mark.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us, sir. Me and
Thank
Marty
you
Mar
both.
appreciate it.
It's an honor,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And shalom.
All right, shalom, brother.
Be well.
We'll talk to you. All right.
All right.
All right, folks, and you're here at the Keeping It Old Fashioned show with Uncle Marv.
Your boy Marty Mar.
Kung Fu edition. That's right. Now, I hope you enjoyed the interview with my man Mark Moore
Oh, so
from
good.
Left Hook 360 Gym. We're going to give you a shout out. Thank you so much, my brother, for joining us.
Thank you,
We
sir.
were honored, to have you here. We hope you guys enjoyed our Kung Fu edition. Dope mix by DJ Demise. Boy, I'm telling you, like to thank him, thank Coach, Now, listen, we can't even go into everything we want to go into this Kung Fu edition one
Yeah,
show.
we could not.
So, Martin, how about we come back with the Keeping It Old Fashioned show, Karate edition.
Oh, man.
And we're going to come back with that in a few weeks, folks. If you like this show, you definitely want to be back with that show, all right? Because we want to show love to the Asian community. They've been real supportive
Yes, we do.
of the, African-American community. They've been real supportive of Americans in general, I like to shout out to all, my peoples out there listening to us in the martial arts MMA community. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and
you
of
watch
course, yeah.
you watch MMA, you watch UFC,
I do.
you watch boxing.
I love
you
it.
watch kickboxing, bro.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's such an amazing sport. I mean, and speaking of like the Asian community, I mean, me being Peruvian, when the Asians, emigrated there, they basically created the best food in the world 8 years in a row. So we have an outstanding cuisine thanks to the Asian influence.
That's awesome, man. Like to give a shout out DJ Demise. And a lot of people don't know it. DJ Demise is a boxing coach, man. So and he's heavily into the combat arts. He's on our show from time to time. We talk boxing, we talk UFC. We'll probably have more in the future, like probably next week or next show, whatever. And we'll talk about boxing. There's a lot of interesting things going on in the boxing world right now, in the combat sports world in general.
Yeah.
Lots of great fighters out there.
Great time to be
But
alive.
We'd like to thank everybody for joining us for the Kung Fu edition. I hope that you enjoyed yourself. We hope that you enjoyed the mix by DJ Demise. We hope that you learned something and had some fun. All right? So, as always, it's Uncle Marv.
Your boy Marty Mar.
And we want you to keep it old-fashioned. You listening to us on She Real Radio, home of the kings and queens of R&B and hip-hop. We'd like to tell you to stay tuned. We got lots of great shows on this station. We're proud and honored to be and have on this station and have a radio partner like She Real Radio. You know what I'm saying? We've been on a lot of other radio programs,
Yeah.
Nowhere near as good as She Real. And
She's
we'd like to
amazing,
give
yeah.
our appreciation out to the CEO, Tiffany Real. Give you a shout out, girl. You know what I'm saying? All right? So listen, every week, keep it locked into She Real Radio and listen to the Keeping It Old Fashioned show and listen to the other podcasts chock full of amazing podcasts on that show. And if you're listening to us through any of our podcast partners, from Spotify to Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, wherever you get your podcast from, the Keeping It Old Fashioned show is probably there. You can go to Uncle Marv's BeefBacon.com
The
and
best
hit
bacon.
podcast, and you can watch us on our YouTube channel. The episodes will be up there. So until next week, folks, this is Uncle Marv.
Your boy Marty Mar.
Keep it old fashioned, baby. Yeah!
Peace.